I'm a Sagittarius man, right? As a man, it's my birthday. I have to understand what is the cause and effect of some shit. Because you will see a situation 6 months after a situation.
You wanted the gang, you should have just asked for it.
Back to Saweetie, I think he was definitely talking about my...
It seems the echoes of Bad and Bougie may have faded, but the tensions between Quavo and Offset are anything but quiet. Whispers across the internet suggest the two might once again be at odds, and this time, fans believe the cause circles back to none other than Saweetie, officially. Offset's appearance on Joe Budden's podcast was framed as a conversation about personal growth, truth, and the consequences of one's actions. Unofficially, however, his words painted a different picture that many interpreted as a subtle confirmation of past rumors. In the court of public opinion, the streets wasted no time stitching together the clues, linking his remarks to the icy ex of his own cousin. Almost instantly, the archives were opened. Old Quavo statements resurfaced, pointed lyrics were dissected, and interviews once brushed aside were re-examined. For some, this so-called betrayal wasn't just gossip, it was the fracture that may have splintered the Migos for good. And that's the heart of it. These weren't simply colleagues or casual friends. They were family, blood-bound not only by music but by life. One would think there would be a boundary too sacred to cross. Yet, if these rumors carry any truth, Offset may have stepped beyond a point from which there is no return. Word on the street claims. Quavo's reaction was not limited to silent resentment. He allegedly took action, if that's the case. We may be witnessing the dawn of a new chapter in what fans are calling the Migos Cold War, one that could get far more turbulent than any chart-topping hit. Now, let's rewind to that podcast. Offset entered the studio with the air of a man unbothered, calm, self-assured, and wearing his composure like a statement piece. But when the discussion turned toward relationships, wounded pride, and the murky ethics of cheating up or cheating down, his guarded demeanor shifted, subtle yet telling. His words seemed to drop like breadcrumbs, enough for the streets to pick up the scent and run with it.
I'm a Sagittarius man, right? As a man, it's my birthday. I have to understand what is the cause and effect of some shit.
In essence, Offset seemed to imply he knew exactly why Cardi B was recently spotted with Stefon Diggs, hinting that his own missteps had been far too frequent for the internet to even keep score. And then came Joe Budden, ever the instigator, sliding into the conversation with what might be the most ruthless receipts of them, all dropping details sharp enough to make the entire room shift.
If me and Mel are together and I cheat on her and I go get
some
or
and then I end up with
somebody that's
Idris.
But here's the kicker: Joe didn't just stop at a subtle jab. He reminded everyone that Offset's roster was anything but short. And yes, Saweetie's name surfaced right there in the mix, rubbing shoulders on the list with Christian Rock and Ari Fletcher.
You will see a situation 6 months after a situation. You see what I'm saying? You'll see some because it's outside. I'm in a public situation, so you're gonna see it when you see it, and then your opinion comes in.
And the most telling moment, he didn't deny a thing. Instead, he let his silence do the talking, leaving every implication suspended in the air, daring the audience to piece it together themselves. It was that sly wink-wink energy, the unspoken confirmation that says, I said what I said, without ever really saying it.
None that I left went up, so I don't know how to experience.
By the time Joe wrapped up, the exchange felt less like an interview and more like a confession booth, though certainly not with Father Joe Budden as the priest. Offset's answers remained deliberately vague, never outright confirming, yet never shutting the door on speculation. And in doing so, he sent a clear message: the rumor mill wants to spin out of control. He won't be the one to stop it. That's when the streets started asking the real questions. If Offset was willing to drop cryptic hints in front of the cameras, how close might Quavo be to making his own moves behind them? The unraveling of Quavo and Saweetie's relationship was less a quiet breakup and more a reality show without a production crew, except, of course, for the elevator cameras. From TMZ leaked footage of their infamous scuffle, to the notorious Bentley repossession, to subtweets sharp enough to cut through diamonds, every chapter seemed messier than the last.
In a recent video released by TMZ, the rappers are involved in a full-on physical scuffle while on an elevator. The surveillance footage was caught on camera at an apartment complex in North Hollywood.
Bling bling. By late 2022, Quavo wasn't just tossing shade, he was dropping the entire iced out tree on Saweetie. Remember that pointed track with Takeoff? Subtlety was nowhere in sight. In it, Quavo rapped, "Carisha, please, Kashi, too messy, please, BFF my dog behind my back. But I ain't stressing. Not at all. You went to gang, you should have just said it. We would have blessed it. Should have just said it." The moment those bars hit the air, the internet morphed into a full-blown crime lab. Former flings were cross-examined, YouTube breakdowns multiplied, Reddit threads spun into overdrive. And no matter where you looked, every arrow, every whispered theory, every dissected lyric pointed in the same direction, straight at Offset. And that's the thing. Sometimes the subtext doesn't even need decoding. It's right there in the rhyme.
Wanted the gang, you should have just asked for it.
Back to Saweetie, I think he was definitely talking about my that he say on the song, "Big fuck cousin." Gang is referring to Migos, like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody in the gang.
And then it all began to click. Gang wasn't just a casual term, it meant Migos, and in this case, it meant family. Suddenly, the tension, the cold shoulders,
rapper does nothing to help her. At one point, he seems to realize the camera has recorded their altercation, but still does nothing to assist Saweetie, who is still on the ground. This video, which apparently happened in 2020, is a shocking turn of events, which comes on the heels of news of their breakup.
The elevator footage was hard to watch, ending with Saweetie on the ground while Quavo stood over her, allegedly injured. Just weeks later, Saweetie broke her silence on Twitter. "I'm single. I've endured too much betrayal and hurt behind the scenes for a false narrative to be circulating that degrades my character. Presents don't band-aid scars. And the love isn't real when the intimacy's given to other women." If anyone expected Quavo to issue an apology, they were mistaken. Instead, he fired back, "I had love for you and disappointed. You did all that. You were not the woman I thought you were. I wish you nothing but the best." From there, cheating. Rumors went into overdrive, fueled even further when Stias Kalo, better known as Little Miss Obsession, dropped an online grenade. Her tweet read, "I've said Saweetie. Do you really want to discuss husbands?" The streets went silent. The post was aimed at Cardi B, who had been defending her man after he faced weed and gun charges. The internet's reaction was swift. "Girl, who exactly are you defending?" Quavo never confirmed the claims, but his messy bar might as well have been a public breakup announcement, both romantically and creatively. Fans began quoting his own lyrics about loyalty, pointing out that loyalty seemed to be the very thing left bleeding on that elevator floor. Then, just when it seemed like tensions between Quavo and Offset couldn't get worse, the 2023 Grammys proved otherwise, according to sources. Moments before Quavo took the stage for his emotional Without You tribute to Takeoff, he and Offset got into a full-on physical fight backstage. Staff had to pull them apart, and a short clip later surfaced showing both men being calmed down. Allegedly, Quavo had refused to let Offset join the tribute, and that's when tempers boiled over. One camp swore Quavo started it. Offset, for his part, jumped on X hours later to deny the whole thing. "What the F, asterisk, asterisk, I look like fighting my brother. Y'all ninjas is crazy." Asterisk, but fans weren't convinced. Many pointed to Takeoff's funeral months earlier, where the two barely. It only seemed to prove how deep the cracks ran. If even grief couldn't bring them together, maybe this was never just about music. And when rumors about Offset and Saweetie started gaining momentum, everyone waited for Cardi B to come in swinging. But instead, she went radio silent to silence. That only fueled more suspicion. It wasn't until her sit-down with Jason Lee that she finally addressed the elephant in the room.
And you know that I was finding out that truth in and out. So it's like,
but had no intention of letting the blogs turn it into their game.
Going longer and longer and longer. And at the end of the day, I know what's going on in my house.
Well, and you have no problem picking up a phone and calling to clear the air. But that's why I love that. That's the growth.
Translation: things were bad. She just didn't want to air her dirty laundry in public. Then came the Oscars after-party tea time. Reports started swirling that Cardi and C had a very public moment at the Vanity Fair event. According to an eyewitness, Cardi saw C and went right over to her and started yelling, "What you got to say now?" It was real ghetto, oh child, the ghetto. Well, Saweetie didn't back down, but she didn't raise her voice either. She chose the icy demeanor over matching Card's energy. C tried to keep it classy, but she didn't back down either. Basically, Cardi was making a fool out of herself yelling, but Cardi herself later jumped on IG Live telling somebody over the phone that,
You know me. I don't play that.
But I'll call you later because I'm on live. I'll tell you all the tea on it later. Bye.
The same day went on IG Live to show off her millions of dollars of jewelry.
$25 million on my back.
So to fans, it was confirmation without confirmation. Now, Cardi might not have spelled the truth outright, but she made sure everybody had something to talk about, and C made sure that she had her power move online too. And in the Beef This layer, sometimes silence is louder than any diss track. But let's get back to Quavo and how Saweetie's reputation plummeted after the first smash rumors hit the internet. When Saweetie was with Quavo, she was hip-hop's Frosty Girl and the McDonald's collab, the Crocs deal, the Brad's campaign.
On that video game,
Yep.
she had the Crocs deal, she had the McDonald's deal, she had hella deals just coming back to back to back. She had the Brad's thing, she had her own cartoon.
Brand money was raining through. But post-breakup, the headlines started hitting a little different. The first came the Get Your Lick Back era. Little baby paparazzi pics and social media whispers, and Quavo's cam saw it as disrespect and fans saw it as city girl energy, and the streets called it something else entirely.
Or being ran through by this nigga brother and homie.
I don't think slur is the right word. Homewrecker. You can say that. You
slut
feel
and
me?
whore. And once you are promiscuous after being a wifey, you now lose your reputation. It's now, right? You know, like you're no longer as popping, because right now we all view her as just an outright like whore, slur, right?
Then Chris Brown got messy, dropping bars about their alleged fling while she was still with Quavo in his song. Weakest link, you, the weakest link out to your clique. You F, my ex hope. But that's cool. I don't give no F to post DMIs and fire off her own shots. The mess didn't stop there though. A blind item claimed that she's recently put hands on Quavo's baby mama, Erica Fontaine, after finding out he quietly had a child with her. This happening after the internet knew she'd slept with Offset. And through it all, lil baby Chris Brown, Eric Fontaine, the common thread was clear. Every single move, every B headline kept her name tangled right back into Quavo and Offset's orbit. Whether she wanted it or not, Saweetie's post-Migos chapter was never really her own. Sure, that's CD's roller coaster, but the real plot here, the one lighting up the blogs right now, is the beef between the cousins. Because after months of icy silence, Offset's new Joe Budden interview just ripped the band-aid off of every old wound. The way that he was talking
sometimes, you know what I mean? But then I just had to realize, it is what it is.
No.
Academics commented on the podcast too, and here's what he said, asterisk.
Yo, Offset done fuck, what is it? Saweetie, Christian Rock, Ari, like, yo, this is, yo, Offset was piping out chicks that Cardi was supposed to do music with.
Now imagine Quavo catching Offset backstage somewhere still steaming with his truth-telling came off like it was a sly dig. No cameras, no Grammys, producers, nobody to pull them apart this time. Just a closed door. Are a few heated words and hands flying everywhere before security even realizes who's in the middle of it. Because this isn't just about a verse or a rumor anymore. It's about years of unspoken disrespect, about a brotherhood that went from diamond to dust, and about a name. So, Saweetie, that's still the grenade between them. Amigos reunion.
We want to see our career as a duo, you know what I'm saying? So we just stand on loyalty, you know what I mean? We stand on real deal loyalty. And, you know, sometimes that shit ain't displayed. And this ain't got nothing to do with no label, no paperwork, no QC, no nothing.
Well, let's just say at this point, people say it would take a whole miracle. The Cold War is cemented, and now with both men refusing to clear the air, the streets are left to fill in the blanks. But what do y'all think about this? Did Offset just poke the bear with that interview? Or was Quavo still holding a grudge he'll never let go of? And if this beat really is over, Saweetie, was she even ever worth it? F2 best friends. She's a real bad chick. Got her own drama. She don't need no tea, ma'am. See y'all in the next one.